Hello, this is Sophomore Astrology. My name is Sarah, and for this video, I'm going to talk about Chiron and Virgo, also Chiron in the sixth house. Now, before I dive in, I just kind of give a brief summary of what Chiron means. Now, Chiron is your soul imprint of pain and suffering. It's like your soul signature, and it is as specific to you as like your fingerprint. It's very unique to you and very specific to you. Excuse me. I also feel like because Chiron represents your unhealable wounds and incurable traumas, right? So with that, it's like Chiron is such a soul, it's such a deep and profound wound to the soul. This is my belief why human beings are not immortal, because this pain and suffering is so profound and it's so much that I don't think any life form should kind of experience this for an endless amount of time, right? And as I was saying, it's so deep and profound that, it's not like you're going to be able to kind of like go to a retreat, heal yourself, and then check out, a week later and everything's okay. No, these are wounds and pain and suffering that might take a whole lifetime or multiple lifetimes to heal. So I would say to have patience with yourself. As you're like healing yourself, because this is life work. This is why we're human. This is why we come here to really kind of work on these wounds. This is not a quick turnover, if you will. So, and I say that specifically because I am talking to people, hopefully you do have your Chiron in the sixth house or in Virgo. And I would say honestly, study Chiron in its totality. Don't just look at the house that it's in or the sign that it is in your chart, because that's just showing you what energies you were born into. Because we feel pain and suffering and we deal with things that hurt us throughout our whole entire life. So I would say study each sign, study each house. Don't just stop here. And I also will link a video, Chiron and Astrology. It's just a simple 13-minute video where I really try to explain in more depth what Chiron means, But anyways, to get into your placement, I honestly feel like people with this placement really need to understand, or at least tell themselves, I think this is kind of like a prayer or a hymn, but anyways, it's the one that says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference, right? So I really feel like this is what someone needs to hear when they have Chiron in Virgo or Chiron in the sixth house. Because Virgo is known to be such a perfectionist, and the sixth house is all about kind of analyzing, really kind of looking into the details of things and knowing how to tweak them and fix them. And at a greater scale, someone with Chiron in Virgo, it's kind of like they want to approach things from a soul level, and really they see all the imperfections in the world. Imperfections kind of like drive a Virgo crazy, like it's a sin, or it's as heavy as a sin if you're talking about religion, or if it's I don't know how to exactly to describe it, but it's almost like for Virgos, imperfections is like a life or death situation where they feel like if a detail is not sorted out, it's detrimental to people. And I feel like people with this placement, they get very overwhelmed by all the imperfections that they see, might not even within themselves, but around the world and other people, in systems, in different institutions, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like the gift, is that Chiron and Virgo, the pain and suffering is associated with things not being whole, things not being perfect, things not being concluded or finished, but I also too, you weren't just given this pain and suffering, you were also given spiritual gifts, and these gifts will help you heal these wounds that you feel are just so profound, so yeah, it's kind of like, maybe in a past life, you were overly either critical of others, or you yourself were criticized very heavily by others, to the point where it just kind of created a wound that just wasn't able to be healed in the lifetime before, and also too, it's kind of it's almost like imperfections and or criticism, because they're kind of one and the same. You know, I feel like someone with Chiron and Virgo, or anyone with Virgo energy, it's almost like an imperfection is pretty much the same as a criticism. You know, it's almost like one and the same, and they feel the same. And I mean, you might be someone who's very sensitive to criticism because maybe you yourself, you work so hard to be a perfectionist. You are so detailed oriented. You might put your blood, sweat, and tears and into something, you know, and it might drive you crazy when people don't see your effort. This is what happens with people who have this placement, because as a Chiron in Virgo or in the sixth house, you might be so you are so diligent with working out details that people might not recognize all the details. You might come across 1,000 details that you fix, but because it's not super like ta-da, or it's not super out there, or it's not super obvious to other people, people will criticize you and your work and act like you are not enough and you're not doing enough. And I really feel like that is like the shame, guilt, and fear that a Virgo or Chiron in Virgo or Chiron in the sixth house feels. You know, they feel like they're not doing enough because externally they're not getting the recognition that they're owed, you know. And honestly, too, it's almost like how dare, like a Chiron and Virgo will feel, they might not necessarily express it, but they will feel like, how dare you criticize my work because I put so much effort into this, you know. And it's just like, you didn't see all the nights I cried, all the nights I stayed up. You don't see my effort. And then you look at my work and you review it for a couple minutes, a couple hours, and then you think you know everything that came into that, you know. So what I have to say, the way that maybe a person with this placement, like your spiritual gifts, is that you're able to see the you're able to see the details that other people work, because once you kind of recognize that what I'm doing is enough, I might not be recognized for everything I'm going to do, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyway, because I was called to really like see the perfection that could be made out of the imperfections. But I also, too, would say in the same breath that, you know, things are meant to be imperfect. As human beings, we're meant to just be imperfect, and that's it. That's how the soul grows, is by exploring those imperfections, especially the ones we're not meant to fix, the ones that we can't change. Remember, there was what was the saying? It was like, the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, to just allow yourself to accept the things you cannot change, you know? I mean, I feel like a Chiron in Virgo can have the ability and the strength to really like change the things that they can, but to let go of the things you can't. You know, you're only human. You're only supposed to kind of heal and change so much. And honestly, healing and changing the world really starts with yourself. So yeah, I kind of feel like once you kind of you see the worth in your work and your diligence, you know, you accept that you cannot change everything, but you really do take ownership of the things you can. Once you kind of have that, like that spirit, and you master that type of thinking, you're able to kind of like impress that onto others. And with that, you know, you're the confidant for people who feel like they're working really hard but not being recognized for it. You'll tell them that, you know, what they're doing is enough. And with that, as you heal others. And then as they heal, you're just healing yourself that much more. So with that, I want to say, just remember to just zoom out and really see the bigger picture of spirituality, universal law, and truth. And understand that you are not alone, and that God made you just the way you are. So with that, I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any thoughts or any comments that you'd like to share, if you have this placement and you've learned kind of over time how to, just overcome it, then let me know in the comments below. I really want to know your thoughts. And I hope you enjoyed this and you have a good rest of your day.